Hello. Hey guys.
Hello.
It's Bryn and Heather. We are back and we are super excited to help our students. So we have a lot of awesome information. We've been preceptors for a long time. I think 10 years for me.
Absolutely. And I actually, oh goodness, yeah, I've been it's about 9 years for me. And I ran the whole department of experiential. So I've got both sides of working with students and also, working with the university and what that looks like as well.
So you have a lot of feedback too from a lot of preceptors.
I do.
Calling with complaints, calling with positive things.
Yeah.
We want you guys to have the positive aspect and things that you can do and implement. You are working hard hours, long hours, so you want to make the most of it and you really want to get the most you can out of it.
It's a huge opportunity. It's a huge opportunity. And you learn more. I'll tell every student I have, I learned more on my rotations than I ever learned in class. Don't tell the professors and all that. But you will learn so much. It's such an awesome time. It's such an awesome opportunity. And we just want you guys to get the absolute most of it because you've really got to find a way to set yourself apart. That's what's going to be really important. And it's your career.
Yeah.
This is your final learning before you head out there and make a difference. So this is the time to do it. This is the time to do a lot of things.
No pressure, but we've got some awesome advice.
Great.
So let's start. So definitely with any rotation, whether you're 1 PD going out or you're on your last 4 PD year, this is a great opportunity. So just always envision this opportunity, network. Pharmacy is a small world. We've touched on that before. So just experience as many different kinds of pharmacy as you can.
Right. And in doing that, you're going to, have your different experiences, whether it's in hospital, retail. When you get to your last year, it's going to be, oh goodness, geriatric, all kinds of awesome opportunities. And so what that does is, like you said, Bryn, it gives you the experience of being in that environment, but it also gives you the awesome opportunity to be around people who are in that space and network with them and make connections with them and learn from them. How did they get there? Especially if it's something you're interested in. Pick their brains and make a good impression. We'll talk more about that coming up as well. And because you want to make a good impression because you have that awesome opportunity of having 6 weeks to be with that person, and that's like a 6-week live interview with them.
It really is. It shows your work ethic, your enthusiasm, your care for the patient. It displays your skills you've worked so hard to develop over the years. So this is a really amazing opportunity to just care for patients, build your network.
And show your stuff. I have a question for you before we keep going. So in that sense of, a 6-week interview and making that impact, did you ever have on your rotations, did a job offer come to you from one of those rotations at all?
It's been a while since I had rotations.
That doesn't decrease our credibility though.
Let's see. I don't know that this necessarily relates, but I'm still in contact with previous preceptors, and some of them are very good friends now. When I graduated, my mom had thought of this idea. We take a picture next to the alligator and made how you would a Christmas card, but graduating, thanks for your help.
Oh wow, that's a good idea.
I wrote a little note to my preceptors that were all that year and sent it to them. And one of my old bosses who mentored me, she still has that card. And I won't even say it's been more than a decade, but it has. And I'm working for her again now. So it's just it was Leslie.
Yeah.
But it's just, they spend so much time and invest so much in you. It's just incredible. So it was a neat way to say thank you.
Yeah.
And then I just had no idea.
And to stand out, because you want to you want to stand out, especially in the pharmacy world now. You really have to set yourself apart somehow, and that's a great way to do it. I'll just share that in working at the MTM Center. So I was a preceptor at the MTM Center at the University of Florida, and we hired residents who came through our center. So they had those students who came through for 6 weeks had a huge opportunity in impressing us. And so when I think back to all of our residents, maybe half of them came from a student pool of students who had come through our rotation. So it was because they had come through and they had done something and just shown their true self and shown their interest in MTM and just really wowed us during their rotation. They were already a notch
top of the list.
Top of the list for residency. And I'll just say from my experience, I'm a little bit older and went to school a little bit before you, but on my rotations, pretty much every rotation, not every, I shouldn't say that, but I would say like 80% of the rotations, and it was a different time, but I got job offers from them. And so I actually had choices to make at the end of my rotations as to what I was going to do. So it can happen, and you really can move this just from a rotation opportunity to that next step in your career, whatever that's going to be. Think of it in that perspective, I think.
Yeah, a lot of my old interns are my friends and fellow pharmacists now. So it's like, for sure, their internship skills and how well they performed at the community pharmacy level, like, they have jobs. They're managing their own pharmacies now. So very proud of them and happy to have them as colleagues.
And in that line of things, I think sitting down before you go on rotations and really having a check-in with yourself of what is it, because you need to think about what is it you want to get out of this experience. You kind of have to go in there with your goal and then kind of center your activities and your actions around that goal. So having that conversation with yourself of what am I trying to achieve and what is it that I want to get out of this experience, because that's going to be really important in communication that we'll talk about with your preceptor and just with yourself and trying to glean what you want to from that experience.
Yes.
That's really important.
A lot of the rotations, too, you can craft projects that help build upon your longer term goal. If you're wanting to get a residency, you probably need to do some more presentations or things that you can put on your CV. If you're wanting to work in community pharmacy, how can you engage patients and show your worth and your communication style to patients that your preceptor can see?
Right. And if it's like research, fellowships are out there. People don't always think of fellowships. And just to clarify, because students often come to me with questions of what the difference between residency and fellowship. So fellowship is usually more of a 2-year experience versus just the 1 year you can do in residency. And they involve a big research project. So along those lines, if you think research is going to be in your background, then maybe you go into your rotations as well, voicing and carrying with you the fact that you're interested in research and how can you pull things from that experience or go through experiences with your preceptors that are going to give you something special to put as research on your CV as well. So thinking through those kind of things is really important. And then, go ahead, were you going to say something?
Oh, no.
And then I think also it's important for you guys to understand the perspective of the preceptor as well. So understanding your perspective and what you want and understanding what does the preceptor want. Because I don't know that students always think about what our goals are or what we're trying to achieve. Right. Sometimes we're just looked at as being mean and giving busy work or giving big projects that take way too long. I mean, we kind of get looked at as being the bad guy, but I think it's really important having, before you come into that experience, just a thought as to what it is that we're trying to achieve with students. And so we thought we could share a lot about that.
For me personally, I love to make an impact. I love to inspire my students. I love to see them think bigger. I love to see them learning. So those sort of things, if you can somehow, I don't know, glean things and learn things and just become a better person from like day one to whenever you're done with my rotation, I just love that.
Absolutely. There's nothing better for a preceptor than watching you go from day one where neither one of you know each other and you're like, I don't know what this person's like. Are they going to be mean? Are they going to be nice? Are they going to be a good student? Are they going to be that wonky student? You know, and we have that kind of awkwardness in the beginning, and then after the time frame of the rotation, we get to a point where we're friends and we are really connected. We really have more respect for each other and we
learn
build
from
relationships.
each other.
Yeah.
I like when y'all teach me things or have resources you can provide. So give.
Yeah, absolutely.
I also would just like to throw in, we didn't talk about this, but I would like to also confidently leave you with my partner. So I don't always work 4 days. Some weeks it'll be 3, so you'll be working with my partner. But if you are annoying or an embarrassment, which I know you're not trying to be, basically you want to be of value and not drive the team crazy. Right. You want to fit in, find ways you can help serve the team. It's a little windy out here.
It's a little windy out here.
Beautiful weather though. We had to get our vitamin D.
And that's right. And we want to integrate you as part of the team.
Yes.
So we want to, the reason we're training you so hard and giving you all this training and information is because we want you to integrate with us, because we want you to quickly move to that place where we're all just working together, and we're seeing what you can do when we've taken you to a place where you can shine. That's what we really want to see as preceptors, is we want to be able to give you any and every opportunity to how you can shine and show yourself. We want that for you. So that's why we're giving you projects. That's why we're pushing you kind of outside your comfort zone, is because we know there's more to you and we want to make sure you show it.
Yes. Speaking of showing it,
Yes.
professionalism.
Yes.
So basically, if you're on time, you're late. So you should be there at least 15 minutes early and expect to stay at least 15 minutes late. Just depends on what happens during the day. So you really want to maximize your learning experience. Don't cut yourself short, and show up ready to learn, eager and engaged. That means dressing very professional. Don't make your preceptor have to comment about your wrinkly coat or your midriff showing, or having open-toed shoes. Like, definitely have your name badge, identify yourself as an intern. What else can you think of professional?
Well, I was going to say, if you can't do those things, because there are things in life that come up. So we want you to be on time and we want you to be dressed professionally and be prepared. But if life happens, we just want, again, you to communicate. Communication is huge. So just pick up the phone, send a text. A lot of us will give you our personal contact numbers. Just letting us know you're running late because you got a flat tire, or your kid was sick last night, or if there's some reason why you didn't maybe do an assignment as well as you would have liked, communicate your situation. Don't be afraid. We know you're human. We're human too. And if you don't give us the story behind what's going on, the why, then we're going to make a story as to why you're not on time or why your work wasn't well. And the story we make is probably not going to be, one, the real story, and it's probably not going to be very flattering for you.
Yeah.
So don't let that happen. Be the first one to come up and say, hey, listen, I know I was late today. I just want to let you know I'm really sorry. And
be accountable.
Happened. Yes, be accountable. That's very professional, is to own it. Absolutely.
And then too, when you are there, look about how you appear externally. Sometimes when you're focusing like on inputting a prescription, you may be looking down and serious. That can come off as rude or not connected to the patient. So always make sure that you're acknowledging patients that walk up, that you're smiling when you answer the phone, that you're exuding positivity. You're not slouching, you're not disengaged. If you look like you're bored or scrolling through your phone, I'm like, what work do I have? What can I assign you? Don't make me have to assign you stuff.
Right. And we hear that at the Office of Experiential. That's the kind of, we hear that, people are late. We hear that they're not completing assignments. They're just not present. They're not prepared. You don't want to be that student. You want to really stand out for a different reason. We want you to stand out, but we don't want you to stand out for those reasons.
Yes.
And so think through, how can you impress or make it impress that preceptor? How can you impress the team that's working with you, and impress your patients? Because you had kind of a great saying that someone told you. Yes.
When I was a student, one of my preceptors was like, basically, you want to have yourself a fan club. When I know you have a fan club, you have arrived, and your patients or even your team members, those are going to be your fan club. How can you serve them? How can you add value? That is very important to quickly figure that out and to serve.
Yeah, and some of those ways, you have to be creative.
Yes.
Be creative in how you can stand out. You're going to want to stand out in a positive way. You're going to want every preceptor to say, wow,
I want them there.
They are awesome. And so there's simple things you can do. Checking in with the preceptor, there's nothing better than a student walking in and saying, can I talk to you for just a minute? I just want to see how I'm doing. Am I doing okay? Could I be doing something differently? Or is there something I'm doing too much of? And then also asking for a special project. Again, nothing stands out better than a student walking in and saying, I'm loving what I'm doing, but I really would maybe like to do a special project. Is there something I can do for you that would help out in a special project way?
And two, I would like to add on to that, if you can proactively think that. So if you already have in your mind, like you have judged yourself outside of yourself, like what you could change or what you could maybe do different, you may not know how, but that helps open up the discussion. So kind of bringing what you would say, or kind of get the preceptor thinking ways they can give you feedback.
And I know a prime example, if I could share.
Yes.
We had a student, we use all kinds of resources in the MTM Center as to go-tos to help with patients to find information. And one of them wasn't exactly up to date. It was actually the Beers list, and the Beers criteria changed. And our list that we were using wasn't up to date on the Beers list, but we kind of like did a training to kind of give people real quickly the updates. But we hadn't actually updated the tool. We hadn't had time. And so one of the students looking for a project on our own came to us and said, I know this isn't up to date. I probably could take that and I could work on that either at home or here, and I could get that updated for you guys. Would that be helpful? Yes, that would be helpful.
Person.
That would be awesome. Love you. So do those kinds of things.
I had another project too. So insulins. Oh my gosh, they've got so many different injectables that come out.
Inhalers. Okay.
My poor text, like for day supply, you have to be accurate. Once that thing's open, is it good for 14 days, 28 days, 42 days? They made me a chart that goes on the fridge. So if there's any question or the tech can't remember, they can go look. Even the pharmacist, if they can't remember, it's right behind them on the fridge.
Yep.
So our student put that together.
And you think of that every time you look at that.
Yes.
You know? And I have to say, the student that came forward and updated our Beers list was one of our residents that following year. She got the residency slot. So just something to think about. Simple ways you can make a difference.
Back to body language, I was going to have Heather give you guys an example. So definitely, good posture, positivity. Hey, how are you? Be right with you. Smiling when you answer the phone. Try and answer the phone by 2 or 3 rings maximum. Yes. Okay. Presentations, twirling hair. Is that good or bad?
That's kind of annoying. That's kind of like you're annoyed. You're kind of sleeping maybe. We had a student who did that we had to really address. She was slouched down, and then we had another student, and this is just a personal thing. I mean, she shook her leg the whole time, and like the desk was shaking, and whenever we had to get together, everything was shaking, and so we really had to have a conversation with her about how that was affecting, and it was distracting from the environment of the discussion. So just things like that. Maybe think about, just being professional. It sounds silly, but just, and being attentive.
Being aware
and participating.
Yes.
Participating. You don't want to be the unnoticeable student who's just kind of sitting back and listening all the time. And plus you get graded on participation usually. So participate, even if, and I always told students, like, if you don't have anything new to say, like you're nervous and you're not a creative, thoughtful person to say something, wow, the audience, it's as simple as saying, wow, I agree with what you just said, Bryn, that was amazing, and I wholeheartedly think that was the right answer. Just agreeing with people or being look like you're involved in the conversation and in the activity that you're doing.
Yes, I love that idea.
Yeah.
That is really good.
Yep.
Let's see.
So are you good with professionalism?
Yep, I am.
Are you sure there's nothing else you wanted to share? Professionalism, double check.
Basically, you just want to come in there. You want to be of value every day. Create some sort of value, solution. If you see a problem, make a solution. Something with professionalism and communication, mistakes can happen. So you want to own up to it. You want to make it a learning environment. We're not there to shame you if you got once a day and it was twice a day. It's just a minor error. Obviously you want that caught before the patient gets it, but let's talk about it. Why did that happen? Did you get interrupted? Did the phone ring? Were you nervous? Were you typing too fast? Did you not reread it? Let's kind of talk about ideas to prevent that. And being professional means open discussion and not, I'm going to give you a fail because you got this. No, don't put pressure on yourself. It's an open dialogue. If you made the mistake, that means somebody else easily can make that mistake. So let's talk about it.
It may be helpful to discuss it as a process thing for them. And we talked about owning, like when you're late or whatever, owning a mistake that you make in the pharmacy is very respectful and respectable. It brings a lot of respect to you. So owning that mistake, I think that's all in owning who you are. And we know as preceptors that this is a learning environment. We don't expect you to come in there and be perfect. If you came in there and were perfect and acted like you knew everything, it would put a big question mark, actually, I think, in my mind, versus, hey, here's someone. And do you think that we haven't experienced a struggling student or a student who made a mistake before? It's not true. I mean, that's what we deal with all the time. That's what we do this for.
Yes.
And one more thing I thought about for professionalism, I wanted to go back to what you said, is the thank you note. Because when you leave a rotation, also leaving that preceptor, whether it's just a card, whether it's just a note on a sticky, whatever, letting that preceptor know that you appreciated that time and their effort.
Time.
Yeah, and what what they put into it, it's a lot of effort and time and care that we put into you as students. So it's a simple gesture to do a thank you note when you leave, but it makes a huge impact. So that's another professional way. Yeah,
I like that. What else are we on next?
Follow through. Yeah.
Yes.
So that was one thing we want to make sure we discussed is follow through. I don't know if you want to start or.
So follow through. For me, I'm a mom and I forget things if I don't do it right away. Just a full disclosure. So my Google Calendar is like my lifeline. Everything's in there, reminders. If a reminder doesn't get set, 15 minutes, 1 hour, 1 day, 1 week, whatever I need it to be, I will forget. So that thing is like my lifeline and it's backed up. I used to be a paper person, and if you're a paper person, that's fine. They make little small pocket calendars. But seriously, be a planner, put it in the calendar, and own it. Don't ask again with the deadline. Don't be late. Find a system that works for you.
And that's on follow through. That helps a lot with like assignments, making sure that your assignments or presentations that you're going to be assigned get done. Make sure you plan ahead to not do it the night before if you can. Like, we can tell when a presentation was just thrown together a couple of hours before. You live up to the expectations, so make sure you're planning, and your follow through is enough to take care of the assignments. The other thing is follow through and workflow, because you're going to be doing the practical side of that job. We're going to be putting you in the clinical experience of that job, and so we're going to be training you as to the steps to do that job.
Yeah, if you tell a patient you're going to get a refill and you're going to call the doctor, that is you. You better do it. Don't expect Susie Q over there to do it for you. Whatever you say you're going to do, you got to do it. A notebook, having a pocket-sized notebook is really helpful, because if you tell a patient you're going to go look that up tonight, you're not going to remember by the time you drive home and get home. Write it down, look it up. If you learn something cool, write it in there. You'll want to reference that.
I actually this is cheesy, and I guess there's electronic ways you can do this now, but cheesy. I actually bought a notepad. It was a spiral notepad, but it was small enough to fit in my pocket, and I actually alphabetized it like you would an address book or something, and I put different colors on the edges of the paper, so there was A, B, C, D, because I put cholesterol information under C, so I knew I could flip to C if I was where's that statin list of all the statins and how effective they are. And so I had my cholesterol information. So on every rotation, if I learned, it was, geriatric rotation, I learned about the Beers list, and I got a cool thing that I could either transcribe in my book on the Beers list, or sometimes I would take a printout that I printed out and I would fold it and kind of either glue it or staple it into that section. But I think that is between that, doing it on rotations, and also I did that if you guys have that class where you're each going to do a presentation on a disease state. And whenever we had a disease state presentation from you guys, when you're in class, you guys,
pearl.
Yeah, I would do I'd have seizure. Okay, seizure. This whole presentation's on seizure. What are the most important things I'm kind of gleaning? And I would put down my seizure notes, and then in that notebook, so that notebook that I created, that really is just a blank notebook that I put stuff in, was my reference for many, many years afterwards.
You still have that?
I still have that.
We're going to see that. She's going to bring it.
I should have brought it.
Yes.
But
let's do it next time.
We'll definitely bring it. But that's just something, and I'm sure there's electronic ways to kind of keep track of what are your clinical pearls? What are the most important things that you glean? Because that was another good thing to flip through when I took the NAPLEX, or as I was studying for the NAPLEX, to kind of refresh myself.
All right.
So we did follow through. Another thing we didn't really talk about that I think we should highlight, Bryn, is your rotations are you working, and you go from to being in class where you kind of reflect, and some of you do classes online, and a lot of that's online. You're very regimented. Now you go to a job, and it is not always an 8 to 5 job, Monday through Friday. Sometimes the rotations actually are Tuesday through Saturday, or sometimes the rotation's not in the morning. Sometimes our rotations start from 12 to 8 at night. And the 40 hours, that's a minimum requirement. On your rotations, you don't want to be the student that's coming in late and then asking to leave early. There's nothing that makes me my teeth grind is a student asking to leave early when I know they probably aren't finished with their work and they got here late. I mean,
And you better have a why, and it's not because I'm going
yes,
to Disney.
we're not unreasonable. We're not unreasonable, but you.
My baby's being born. Okay, you're good. Like, go see that.
But I think starting your rotations with the understanding that this is your learning opportunity, and it might not be 40 hours, it might be 50 hours, and it might not be the hours
That
like
you want.
9 to 5. You may not get a lunch break. You may have to squeeze lunch in somewhere.
Yeah.
You may not get that hour lunch break as well. So you're going to work like a pharmacist, and you're going to work the hours that we work. So
You're gonna feel like a
feel
pharmacist.
what it feels
That's why
like.
you're there.
Yeah. So that's just something else I
Yes.
wanted to make sure we thought about. Is there anything else we wanted to share?
I think we're about wrapping it up.
I think so too.
So this is your opportunity. You network, you build your brand. This is who you are. Be of value. I can't stress that enough. Like, you really need to just go in there positive, smiling, work with the team members. Like, you don't want to clash with them. You all want to get along. You want to help those patients that need you the most. You have a lot of skills you've developed. Those patients love to learn from students and love the extra
love
time,
students.
attention. Build that fan base.
In MTM, of course, that's my perspective, but the patients loved when the students answered the phone and they were announced that they were a student pharmacist. The patients ate that up. They love talking. Oh, I've got so many meds. You're going to learn so much from me. They love talking to them. And like you said, I think the most important thing I want you to take from this is just know this is the beginning of you building your brand of who you are and defining, when people say your name, what thoughts come to their mind. That's what a brand is. Who are you? Who do people see you as? What are the benefits that people see that you're going to be? That is your brand. Who are you and what do you bring to the world? And this is your time to start that. You're starting it on rotations. Build your brand in a positive way. Even when you have that rotation that you didn't want in the first place, or that rotation that you hate. I don't know. I hate to say something that you hate.
Right.
You don't like old people, and you're doing an MTM rotation, which we deal with a lot of geriatric patients. So
Multiple meds.
yes, so and then you may also, another bad experience, you may have a rotation you really like, but the preceptor maybe isn't what you expected.
They may be very busy. They may not have as much hand holding or hands-on time. You have to make the most of wherever you get placed.
Pick something that you're going to glean from it. What is in that space that you could hold on to and say, I may not be in the environment that is great for me, which is a life lesson, because you're going to be working in different environments, and not all of them will be ones that you might want to be in. So how do you, it's a good life lesson. How do you manage that? And how I tell my students is, like, find something there that aligns with your interests, aligns with something that you could carry with you going from there, even if it's just how you would do things differently. Just kind of work through that. So that's another thing to think about too. And that comes in building your brand.
Yes, I love it.
But thank you so much for your time. I hope something we
Yes.
gave you guys today is helpful for you to think about, at least.
I know, they're probably so busy studying, they don't have time to watch us, but we love you guys. We wish you the best. You can do this. Make our profession proud.
Yes, make us proud. We
Yes.
love you guys. And just know that we're all rooting for you. We are all for you. So go out there and make a difference.
Love it.
Bye, guys.
Bye.